Hello and welcome to today's broadcast. Today we are going to be talking about identifying as a stress eater and why that can be one of the primary things that is holding us back as women from what it is that we say that we want to have for ourselves. So welcome if you are joining us live. I always ask that if you're joining us on YouTube, you take a second to hit that subscribe button and make sure that you hit that little bell notification. That way you know when we go live or upload these as rebroadcast. And if you're joining us on Facebook, I ask the same thing, except you have a different button. Please make sure you hit that like button and that you also are set up for default notifications. That way anything that we post, you will get a notification about. And then this is our time to come together as a community and open up some dialogue where I can answer some questions or maybe help you unbox this topic if it is something that you feel like you are dealing with. So if you are new, I always like to take a second to introduce myself. My name is Diane. I am the creator of the online course and community, Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman. And today we are going to talk about how intermittent fasting can really help us with something like stress eating. So I do coaching calls. I do long-term, like 3-month type of programs with women. And then I also offer a 30-minute coaching call with women who register for my Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman course. And I offer this call as a means to help you kind of unbox or talk through some of the sticking points that you might be having with what it is that you say that you want for yourself. I am the kind of coach, even with intermittent fasting, where I lead with mindset, and I don't like to lead with a meal plan. And so if you've been in this community for any time, you know I don't tell you how to eat. I don't judge how you eat. I let you really take the time to figure that out for yourself. And one of those reasons I do that is because when life happens to us, we always default to what we have created as our own norm. And you will not pull out the perfectly planned out meal plan that someone has devised for you when things happen in life or you feel stressed out or maybe you're just having a bad day. But if you have created a lifestyle that you are seeing and feeling the benefits from, that becomes your new norm, and you will more likely default to those kind of decision-making processes and habits if you in fact have created it for yourself. So where does this all come into play with stress eating and identifying as a stress eater? So I'm a huge fan of creating I am statements for ourselves. And I am statements are the statements that we use to remind ourselves of how it is we want to show up for ourselves and how it is we want to create the lifestyle that we can carry with us when life happens. And so if one of the ways that you are identifying yourself is as a stress eater, then you have just taken ownership of that activity and those type of behaviors. And you will default to that statement and that self-identifying ownership that you just gave to yourself and labeling when life happens, right? So if I say when I'm stressed out, I go into the pantry and I eat an entire bag of potato chips, then when stressful things happen, that's what I do. Because when we are dealing with things that are mentally exhausting or overwhelming for us, we default to the norm, and oftentimes we are in a self-soothing or a numbing type of environment because we want what doesn't feel good to go away, and we walk to the place where we always walk to and we do the things we always do. And so it doesn't seem ridiculous to say when I'm stressed out I eat an entire bag of potato chips because that's just normal. But what if we paused and we redefined who we are in those moments and we relabel ourselves? So I personally think that because I have gone through this work and I used to be the person that identified as a stress eater, I have now relabeled myself. And I have no problem saying I'm a stress manager, or I'm a stress walker, or I'm a stress reader, or I'm a stress closet organizer, because we will do what we take ownership of or the labels that we place on ourselves when we go into a mindless type of situation. or a mind numbing type of situation. And so I want you to think about how it is that you are labeling yourself. And I want you to ask yourself how that is working for you. So if you've been in one of my coaching sessions, or we've done a group or a call with one of my courses, this is one of the questions that I always lead with when I hear these sort of self-identifying statements from women who are feeling like they're struggling and stuck. So if you were to come into a coaching call with me and say, Diane, I don't know how to get over this, I'm a stress eater, I respond to you with that exact question of, how's that working for you? Because there's no shame in stress eating. There's no shame in eating an entire chocolate cake if you're having a bad day. The problem comes when we don't like the end result of stress eating, right? So if eating an entire cake really does help you manage stress, and 3 days after you ate that chocolate cake, all your stress went away and all your problems were solved and you felt fantastic about that decision, then I would say stress eating's working for you. But most often, when we identify as a stress eater and we do partake in those type of activities when we're in a stressful situation, the end result is regret. So when we call ourselves stress eaters and we take ownership to that, so therefore we act it out, two things happen. We react when stress happens, and then we have a regret after the event, right? So we react, we do what we can do unconditionally, like we don't have to think about it, we just go eat something. And then as soon as that event is over, regret sets in. And the regret part is where we start to develop the problem, because we then go into that self-sabotaging type of dialogue, or we feel depressed about it, or we're disappointed in ourselves about it, or we see the end result of the cycle is putting us in a position where we don't have the opportunity to wake up every day looking and feeling our best because we made a decision that didn't serve us well when we were not thinking clearly. So how is it that we end this cycle of labeling ourselves with labels that aren't working for us? You have to proactively change the labeling. You have to proactively change the conversation and those self-identifying negative things that you are allowing your mind to naturally fall into acting out when you're not thinking clearly. So how do you do this? You start with creating new I am statements, right? So I am not a stress eater. I am a person who now finds different activities when I'm stressed out. So I always like to give real life, like positive examples of what you can become in a stressful situation. So if it seems ridiculous to eat an entire chocolate cake when you're feeling stressed out, then why would it seem crazy for us to vacuum our house when we're stressed out, or organize a closet when we're stressed out, or maybe throw on our running shoes and go for a really nice walk when we're stressed out? We don't think about those type of activities when we're stressed out because that's not the norm that we have established for ourselves, especially for a lot of us who are in these 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s, right? The years in which a lot of our old habits have really set in hard. And it's really difficult for us to create those kind of changes. They don't happen on their own. They don't happen by accident. You have to identify that what you are currently doing is in fact not working for you. You have to be in agreement with yourself that these activities are no longer serving you, that you deserve better, and that you want to identify yourself as something different so that the end result or the outcome of the activity is going to actually serve what it is that you say you want to have for yourself and your life. So it is not crazy to think that you are a stress vacuumer or a stress closet organizer, because just changing the activity that you do and that physical response that you have when something comes at you will help you create a better outcome when the stress is over. Because remember, Stress always has a way of managing itself through. Uncomfortable or difficult situations always have a way of balancing themselves out. And then we are left with the end results of the decisions we make for ourselves because of how we are identifying how we respond and react to those situations. And then we end up creating a whole new set of stressful situations that we now have to manage. So, first step, stop identifying yourself as a stress eater and change the dialogue that you have in your head and the labeling that you use to describe yourself in a stressful situation. Make it something that you do or a way that you react when something stressful comes up as something that will yield you a positive outcome on the end. Make sure that you are finding ways to manage your stress, right? Remember, stress is something that comes at us unexpectedly. It is generally not anything that is positive, and we have to have boundaries in place to make sure that we know how to handle that as well. So you need to have an outlet. I always recommend changing the scenario when stress comes at you so that you change what it is you're seeing and feeling in that instance as well. So pause and ask yourself, the next action that I take or the next thought that I'm going to have, how is that going to serve me outside of this stressful situation so that when you do react to it, you will not have regret on the other end. And you will see that you can start to create some very useful situations for yourself. And if you partake in activities or decision-making processes that have a positive outcome, you will in fact yield a positive outcome yourself when stress comes at us. I know a lot of us have had very stressful situations, especially over the last few months. And I know for a lot of us coming up with school being, if you have school-age kids, there's going to be some remote learning at home, or kids are going to go back to school and maybe come back home. And how are we going to handle those situations? And how can we do the work now in labeling how it is we're going to react and respond to those situations if they happen to us? And can we be in control of the outcome so that it is a positive one for us and that we change the narrative that we have going on in our head? Being a stress eater is a choice. It is something that we are choosing to do because of the labeling that we have identified with. If you don't like the choices that you're making, change them. And the first step to doing that is changing how you identify yourself. So I don't want to hear anyone else labeling themselves as a stress eater. We can have stressful situations that we need to deal with. That is not going to ever change. That is what I call life. But we want to make sure that we are doing the work to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. It starts up here. How does intermittent fasting help with all of this? When you are designating a period of time in your day that you do nothing except drink water and coffee, and you allow your body to learn how to feel its way through life's situations, and when life happens at you, you have nothing to do but choose to manage them, feel them out, and then figure out a way to deal with them that doesn't involve food. So intermittent fasting is that thing that helps us learn how to manage our lives without having to use food as our escapism. You designate a period of time where you just don't allow that to happen. So intermittent fasting can be that tool that will help you in those first steps of identifying yourself as something other than a stress eater. Why don't you start by saying, I'm a stress faster. And when something stressful happens to me, I lean into that with a really nice fast, right? And I always say, when in doubt, fast it out. And that really is an opportunity for us to utilize this lifestyle that we're creating for ourselves and lean into the healing aspects of fasting. One of the things that I'm always so amazed about in this community that we have pulled together here is that, yes, intermittent fasting will heal you from the inside out. Intermittent fasting will help us reverse some of the signs of aging that we're not happy with. Intermittent fasting will help you lose weight. But the beautiful blessing about intermittent fasting is it allows you to sit in a state of hungry and feel completely empowered about the decisions that you're making for yourselves and the way that you want to create a lifestyle for you that will allow you to start to feel again, because you cannot use food or drink to numb the things that are going to come up in your life. So Consider all of this when you are creating this lifestyle for yourself. Think beyond losing weight. Think beyond the magic that's going to happen on its own if you just move out of the way of your body, and really start to feel comfortable in feeling what it is that comes up when you're in a fasted state. And if you take the excuse of using food out of the picture, then you can no longer use that as your excuse, and you can identify as something different. This will be life-changing for you, trust me. And then you will be able to have that opportunity to wake up every day, like we say here in this community, looking and feeling your best and living your most authentic life, because you are absolutely living it and you're feeling it and you know how to cope with it. So I hope this helps you if you have kind of this little struggle for yourself and you find yourself tripping into the excuse that you are a stress eater. And I hope that the little tips and tricks that I gave you today will help give you some encouragement and some confidence to just identify as a different person and then choose the activities that will back up what it is that you say you want to be for yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and answer any questions or comments y'all have. If you have once identified as a stress eater and you have now reclassified yourself, make sure you put that in the comment section. I want to see how you are reclassifying yourself. And then maybe that might give some inspiration to someone else who's going to be watching this, whether it's here with this live or maybe on one of our rebroadcasts as well. So Mary Ann, good to have you with us, girlfriend. I think you're in Canada. You're gonna jump on us later with us later, but I saw your comment in here. Danny, good afternoon, Diane and Michael. I totally needed to hear this today. As always, timely info. October 2018 grad. Yeah, it's very timely. You know, our society has granted women permission to sell ourselves short, right? So we get it a lot with hormones, right? Oh, you're feeling hormonal, you should go eat some chocolate and drink a bottle of wine. Or you're feeling this sort of way, you should go treat yourself to this, thing, usually food or drink. And it's okay to identify ourselves as something less than what we want to be. It's socially acceptable and it's so ridiculous. And we really need to go back to creating an empowered way that we want to show up for ourselves. And we don't want to go by societal norms. We want to change the narrative. And I think the more of us women who are changing the narrative and are showing up as the person that we say we want to be, and we're not using these societal norms as our excuse to be less than we want to be, then we will start to model this for other women, and then other women will get the courage to do the same thing. So food is not an excuse for us to be less than what we're supposed to be. And I think as soon as we stop using it that way, we'll see the power of food and the power of nutrition, more importantly, and how we can use that to really show up as our best selves. And when that happens and when that clicks for you, it's an amazing thing. So keep at it until it becomes part of who you are. And you guys know I'm a huge, huge fan of sticky notes. So if you have to put sticky notes all over your house, with your I am statements to remind you when things get tough, or maybe when you're feeling a little bit less powerful than you like to be on some days, put the sticky notes in places and write on your mirror, do whatever you have to do, put a reminder on your phone of what you know you are meant to be, so that when life happens, life's not going to catch you when you're least expecting it. You're always going to be armed and ready with the most powerful I am statements that you have for yourself. Teresa, my new I am statement: I am a stress knitter. September 2018 grad. Girlfriend, can you imagine? My girl Teresa here is an amazing seamstress and apparently an amazing knitter as well. And girlfriend, just think about how amazing you can be with loading up your Etsy shop with lots of nice things that you will be knitting in the power of a stressful moment. So congratulations, girlfriend. I can't wait to see what you come up with that. DJ, this is the best advice ever. I am using it beginning today. Yes, use it today, like in this moment. If you woke up this morning and you said to yourself, I am something, and it's less than amazing, change that statement today. Change it right now and create a new I am statement for yourself. They are power. They are power because you are in conversation with yourself more than you are in conversation with anyone else. And what goes on up here is often very unconscious. And we think thoughts that are repetitive and habitual. So if you don't like the conversation that you're having in your own head, you have the power to change it, right? You have the power to choose the words that you want to have in conversation with your self in your head. It takes training, though, and it takes time to undo some of those negative conversations that we just happen to fall into. So don't be afraid to do the work to change that, so you can have the conversations that you want to have, for sure. I always say, when it's a really tough, I tend to go to the negative very naturally. It's part of the environment that I was raised in. So I have to proactively put positivity into my life. That's why I'm always reading a book. It's why I'm always listening to podcasts. It's why I'm always creating I am statements for myself. And so sometimes in the beginning, if it's not natural for you to create these more positive ways of speaking to yourself, you have to put them in places where you will literally trip over them. So I have noticed, for instance, for me, I've been trying to download books digitally just so I don't have so many books around my house, but it's not something that I think about when my book is on my iPad, as opposed to when my book is sitting on the counter and I see it every single day. That is one of those things that's been really hard for me to change. And so I'm like, why am I fighting this? I'm just going to order the book, right? I'm a physical book person. And so that helps me stay more positive. And so go with the grain of who you are naturally as well. And if you know that, you have to be that person that has positivity in your face to stay positive, put the sticky notes up. Make sure you have the book around that you can read. Put positive affirmations around your home. Put positive statements in places where you frequent, so that you will see them and you will be reminded, for sure. Julie, such overwhelming stress in today's environment, pandemic, political. Yes, I totally agree. But here's the thing that and I had this conversation with my daughter today, and we're having it with our son because he's away at school, and we have it in our family just because of who our family is and what is going on in the world today. We can choose to focus on the negative, or we can choose to focus on the positive, right? They're both choices. So I can challenge you to turn anything that you're currently thinking into a positive statement. You can always find positive. So for my daughter, she's home. She's remote learning with us. And for right now, it's 3 weeks, but they could force her to go back to school. We're going to choose to keep her home as long as we can. And so we're trying to find the positives out of it. The positive for a high school student to be home is, man, she's going to have so much more time on her hands to not have to deal with the hustle and bustle of driving to school and picking her up and bringing her home, and the wasted time on a lunch break and all of the wasted time at school. So we're pulling out as many positives as we can from all of what could very easily be negatives in our life. And so if you find yourself always seeing the positive, then you have to do the exercise of pausing and seeing if you can move the negative out of the way and find a positive in there somewhere. And I bet you if you look hard enough, you'll be able to find it. And then you just keep going to that positive until you drown out all the negativity. And then make sure you're careful about who you're exposing yourself to and what you're exposing yourself to. And if you're the kind of person that doesn't deal with negativity well, then I would stay away from the news and stay away from political updates and just stay in your own lane. So that you don't get derailed from someone else's negative mindset as well. DJ, had the best consultation with Diane today. Yes, girlfriend, it was great chatting with you for sure. And I know this is a big issue for a lot of us women. And so I love that I can have this opportunity to do live coaching with you guys as well, because it's tough. It's tough, especially when we have been so conditioned to think this way and believe this way our whole lives. And I think once you can kind of unbox where it comes from and start to give yourself permission to let go of some things, you can really open up some good opportunities to create new I am statements as well. So a lot of times these stress eater type of things with us women especially come from things from our past. And one of the conversations I had with someone today was, you have to give yourself permission to let go of things that happened in your life as a result of you not having the opportunity to make your own choices. So if you experienced something or had a certain type of relationship with someone when you were in a position because of age or living circumstances or whatever, where you could not be the power player of your own decision making, you have to realize that that life experience is now over and that you are now in a position to choose how it is decisions are made for you. And you have to let the past go. If you keep bringing the past in, and the past is the thing that is making you make decisions for yourself today, then you're continuing to let whatever it is that you were unhappy with keep you unhappy, right? So give yourself permission to let go of things from the past and make a decision today that you are a grown woman who's capable of making decisions for herself that are going to be healthy and beneficial for you and your future. And that's how you start making decisions for yourself, not based on the past, not based on past emotional conditioning or any of the things that you experienced, but how is it you want to show up for yourself today now that you can make the decisions for yourself, and you make a new series of decisions so that you can change everything that you have moving forward. Paula used to be a stress eater, learning not to be partly through August 2020 IF course. Yeah, Paula, and you have to keep working at it for sure, because if it's not serving you, then it's just wasting your time. And we don't want to do that anymore. Julie, months of mega stress, COVID, political events, family illness. I know it's endless, right? But we have to put an end to it, because life is going to go on. It just might be different, right? And there might be new things that we have to learn how to manage. And that's all okay, because we're capable of going with the flow. We're capable of making change where change is needed. What we don't want to do is let those things tear us down. So we have to be strong. We have to be empowered. We have to be energized, right? Again, this is where intermittent fasting is really beneficial to us, because you can live in the energized sense of calm. Your sense of decision making will be heightened. Your mental clarity will be heightened. Your willingness to stand for what you know serves you best will be heightened. So when we are constantly in that fed state and we're doing things that don't serve us, that's when we start to become numb. That's when we become unfeeling. That's when we become uncaring. That's when we become almost careless in the approach in which we're taking care of ourselves. So when in doubt, fast it out. Keep that clarity, keep that focus, so that you can be in a position to make really good decisions for yourself when everything else seems to be knocking you down. Let's see, who else? Diane, good to see you, girlfriend. Haven't seen you for a while. It's good to have you on with us. Wendy, 2018 IF and F3 grad, current mindset shift, goal setting participant, learning leaning into my habit of 20-hour-a-day fast. Good for you, girlfriend. The 20-hour-a-day fast is where the magic happens. So I'm glad that you are leaning into that. Linda, this is so timely. I was saying I stress eat. I was saying I am myself stress eat. No. You don't stress eat, right? You stress do something else. And what the easy opposite to that statement is, I am a stress faster, right? Just lean into the fast for sure. I'm a stress water drinker, or I'm a stress walker. Find something that's going to serve you in a positive way for sure. Detoxifying Emily. Yes, ma'am. This has helped me so much. I am now a stress faster. Good for you, girlfriend. Hey, Wendy, it's good to have you with us as well. Sarah, August 2020 course. Thanks for all the wisdom, Diane. Girlfriend, you are welcome. Thank you for jumping on with us. I love having you guys here. Marianne, actually, I'm here now. Good, girlfriend. It's good to have you with us. Wendy, I'm not a stress eater any longer because of IF. Good for you, girlfriend. So proud of you. Danny, indeed, you are right. Thank you so much. Susan, my new goal is to be a stress faster. Heck yes, for sure. It will serve you so much better. How long should you fast the first time you fast? It all depends. I don't like to throw out just an hour time frame. There's a lot of factors that go into it, which is why we have the course Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Women, and I teach you how to build up to that for sure. Marianne, you are fabulous. That is for sure. Janet, catching you late from Nevada. Good to have you with us. Teresa, I just sold 3 knit blankets today, so I will be knitting more. Great stress busting method. Yeah, for sure, girlfriend. And how blessed are those people that you are making blankets for. Diane, what a great concept. Live past your end goal. I suppose your mental image of self looks and feels polished, and therefore self-esteem goes through the roof. I'm thinking, yeah, for sure. You have to visualize yourself in a place maybe you haven't yet reached, right? Because if the current situation you're in doesn't allow you to look and feel your best and live your most authentic life, then you're going to base your decisions on your current situation or your past, and that might not be serving you well. So you have to take where you are today and how you see yourself tomorrow and next week and next month and next year, and what do you need to do to get to that vision, right? Because the things we have from our past, if they weren't serving you, you have to let them go, and you have to visualize a better tomorrow. And when you visualize a better tomorrow, the anticipation of making those choices are so much more exciting because you now have the power and the control to make them better. Janet, I'm a knitter too. Great for keeping my hands busy in a good way. Yeah, for sure. And then Janet, I stay away from the news. A Facebook post the other day suggested we create our own positive headline for the day. Yeah, there you go, for sure. For sure, we are in control. There's plenty of negativity out there. And so if it's not serving you, then you have to find something that is, right? And so sometimes it just means you got to look past the negativity. And then Linda joined us. This is so timely. I was saying I already did that one. Awesome. Okay, I think I got everyone. So make sure the statements that you are using to describe yourself are current and accurate for how it is you want to live your life. And if you currently identify yourself in a way that is not serving you, then just reclassify how it is that you are showing up for yourself, and then make sure that the decisions that you are making are not reactionary that will lead to regret. So the things that you do in a situation where you have to react or respond to it should leave you with a positive outcome. If you are left with something that makes you feel regretful or disappointed in yourself, then we have to change the behavior, and that is a proactive activity. It's not going to happen passively. Thank you so much for jumping on with this today. This is a lot of the work that we do in our Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Women course, and it's definitely the work we do in our Midlife Mindset Shift course. And for those of you who don't know, I am also a success coach. So if you want to dive deep on maybe some more personal things that you want to work through, I do one-on-one coaching with women as well. You can go to fortoday'sagingwoman.com site, and you can check out how you can get set up with some coaching sessions with me one-on-one as well. I will see you guys on Monday. If you're in my Mindset Shift community, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Monday. Just a quick note, all the schools here in Texas are starting remotely tomorrow. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we will have some good internet connection on Monday when everyone around here will be online and in school. So I will keep you guys posted. And if for some reason it seems like with everyone being in school and online at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time on Mondays and Wednesdays is not going to be a good play for us, we'll just readjust our time. And for those of you who follow me on Instagram, starting on Monday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, I'm going to be going live to chat with you guys about things that pertain to us in our midlife mindset and what it is we're doing aging. And we're going to keep that conversation open to just about anything you guys want to talk about. So I'm excited to join you guys there as well. 9 a.m. Central Standard Time starting on Monday on Instagram. Have a fabulous weekend, you guys. Make sure you're staying positive. Make sure you're using the right words to describe yourself. And then make sure you're taking that moment to pause and think before you react or respond to something, so that when you are out of that situation, you won't have any regrets. I love you guys. I'll see you guys next week.